We are live and in studio once again on this happy Cinco de Mayo day.
Happy Cinco de Mayo. Um how do you say that in Spanish?
Cinco de
Feliz Cinco
Mayo.
de Mayo.
Oh, you meant just the first word? How do you say happy?
What do you mean?
Congratulations.
Cinco de Mayo is already in Spanish.
Right, that's why I was so confused.
Oh, I
Happy
see, I
Cinco de
see.
Mayo. Oh yeah, well what's that in its native tongue? What did you what?
Cinco de
Hmm?
Mayo.
Did you do I need to hit you? Is that what this is?
or as the nerds say, it's Revenge of the Fifth today.
Oh yeah. How weird is it that some people's initial response is just like when a question is asked, they just start swinging? I maybe we shouldn't talk about beating up family members on lovely Cinco de Mayo.
Oh boy. Who are you beating up?
I was going to beat up you for asking how to say Cinco de Mayo in Spanish.
Oh, we're family members now? I
I
didn't know
did
we were
not say
related.
that. It was
You said
tertiary.
no, you said, "How weird is it that you just beat up people or beat up family members for asking a question?"
Well, I don't do that.
Well, you just inferred that you did.
No, I didn't. I didn't say
Yes, you
no.
did,
I said
because you
I
just said
the
you
question
said
that I
I was about
asked.
to beat you up.
Well, no, the question that I asked was
Therefore,
how weird.
I'm connecting
Okay,
the dots that you set up for me. It's like the stars are aligning. It's like we're astrologists,
I mean,
and the planets are aligned.
I think there's a difference between connecting the dots and
Mhm.
jumping over a chasm of implication.
I think what you're referring to is reaching, and as a small person, I can't do much of that. So I think I'm connecting the dots very properly here.
Uh,
Your silence speaks volumes.
my brain was just left behind in the dust by whatever you just said. All of it went over my head.
Are you saying that for once in a lifetime I've outsmarted you?
Oh well, maybe I shouldn't say over my head.
No, you said what you said.
It flew so under my head
Mhm.
that I had no idea how to comprehend the sentence.
Oh yeah, totally. You can't save yourself this time.
Hey, I think
You've
I
already
just
dropped
did.
it. You've already dropped it.
I think I was
You've already
clean.
failed.
Well, I couldn't drop it any lower than how low
You're
intellectually that
trying to save
was.
this, but there's nothing you can do to bring it back. I'm sorry to tell you.
Well, okay, you know what? You need to cling to some victories sometimes. You
And you
take
know
so
what?
many
That's
L's
exactly
that
what I'm
it's just,
doing.
you know what? Here you go. You can have this one.
Hey, my name is Lamb for a reason, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. You were born. You were born an L.
My initials are IL, stands for I lose.
That's true. Yep. It's like he
Oh,
was
it's
born,
unfortunate.
yeah, with a lot of unluckiness.
I was
At any
born to
rate, it is
oh,
Cinco de Mayo. Usually, whenever
yeah,
we have one of these that falls on a
some kinda
holiday,
holiday.
we
Yeah.
get really distracted because we have no idea the historical implications of the
Are we going
actual.
to be doing that again?
I hear you googling. What is Cinco de Mayo in the background?
First of all I said was Cinco de Mayo, thank you.
Huh? All you
I just
did? Oh,
typed
you
Cinco de
just
Mayo.
googled the general phrase.
Yeah.
Well, this first there's going to be a Wikipedia article that tells you about the history of
First of
how
all, the first thing that I see
Mr.
first thing that
Cinco
I
and
see
Mr.
is
Mayo got
ABC
together and
7
they.
oh my god, ABC7chicago.com
Why? What
is
do
the
they
first thing
want?
that pops up. Thank you. And
It's
it's
because you're a
asking me,
liberal.
"What is
That's what it
Cinco de
is.
Mayo?" Alright. Uh, it marks the anniversary this is an educational podcast, by
Right,
the way.
right. Here we're into the educational part.
Cinco de Mayo marks the anniversary of the 1862 victory by Mexican troops over invading French forces at the Battle of Puebla. The triumph over the better equipped and more numerous French troops was an enormous emotional boost for the Mexican soldiers led by General Ignacio Zaragoza.
Well, what I was gonna say before you so rudely launched into your educational spiel
I'll show you
is that
rude.
usually we do that. We launch into it because we have no idea what we're talking about. But I realized that it was gonna be Cinco de Mayo. And so I
Mhm.
did my research and learned all of that. So I knew all that you just
Oh,
said.
I'm sorry. Well, then go ahead and give us the true history
Nah,
of
you
Cinco
got
de
it. You
Mayo.
pretty much just covered the whole thing. I think we move on to the next topic. We got
Oh,
that out of the way.
how convenient that you feel that way right now.
Under 4 whole okay, I'll just cross that off on my list of pod tops. I started a document, by the
Here,
way.
I'll go ahead and mark this, by the way.
What?
I'll mark this clip
That's our
for you,
Cinco de
just for you.
Mayo? Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
alright. Well, boy, there is just no way to transition out of Cinco de Mayo. I mean, are you doing anything to celebrate?
Um,
Gonna
well,
go
I'm gonna
get
try to go to the
schwasted on
movies
the square?
today.
Oh, okay. Wait, what movie?
Completely unrelated.
What movie are you going to
I think
see?
you know what movie.
You've been trying to watch Godzilla versus Kong for like
Godzilla X
for like
Kong. Thank
3
you.
weeks.
Listen, life is a, oh my gosh. Oh
Didn't
wow.
we push the
Jeez.
podcast like 2 weeks ago so you could go watch this? And then you were
So
like, I'm
listen,
gonna
let me
watch it
tell you what's been
yesterday.
happening. Let me tell
And
you
then
what's
you're
been
like, and I'm
happening.
gonna go watch it today.
Let me tell you what's going on.
Cinemark's getting whiplash from all your buy refund tickets.
Well, I've only done it like twice so far. So first of all, scheduling issues happen.
Right, of
Half
course.
the time. Other times, I get I get off of work and I come home and I'm exhausted and I don't want to do anything, or
Reasonable.
I fall asleep, and then we don't go. Or I'm like, hey guys, you want to go to the movies? And someone's like, oh, I can't because I'm going to be doing this. Okay, cool. We'll try to find another day. That goes with scheduling. Or I'm like, hey guys, you want to go to movies today? And someone will be like, no, I'm not really feeling today. Can we go tomorrow? And then I'll be like, okay, cool. Or I'll be like, oh, hey, let's go to the movies today. And they'll be like, I can't. Or I don't really want to go today. Or I got something I got to do. Sorry.
Wow, it's like the human condition, but laid out right in front of us, right there.
Correct. The last time we had planned to go, uh, Jacob was on call. And so we didn't want to risk having to be at the movies and then he gets a call and he has to leave in the middle of the movie because somebody's
Fair.
house is burning down or something.
Right.
Um,
You could just
which
ask him to not do that for 2.5 hours,
I
3
mean,
hours.
I would love to do that. Unfortunately, that's not how our jobs work. Um,
People gonna
so
burn
then
down. People gonna burn down. I don't know what to tell you.
I wanted to go yesterday, but we had got invited over to a friend's house actually, and we spent the day over there instead. Well, that was something that had been planned like a while ago. So we couldn't go to the movies because we didn't know how long we were going to be there. So then we set it for today.
So what's gonna stop you guys today?
Well, it depends on how long you be a mean person to me.
Huh?
Yeah,
What?
you are the reason why.
Oh, I'll be the one that just puts you
Yeah,
back in bed for the rest of the day.
yeah.
Well, it's like basically what we do here is we get into a little boxing ring, a mental boxing ring, and then we just have it out with each other. We just take out all of our frustrations from the last week.
No, it's mostly you beating me up, and I'm just trying to survive. And you're
That's
like,
because I
you
rant. I go on
stupid.
rants. Okay, I'm bad about ranting. I
Oh
realize
yeah, I
that.
can tell you that.
Okay, if I have one problem, it's that I get too into what I'm saying.
He calls it passionate. I call it a problem.
You call it a problem. Well, my problem gets us to that hour mark. All right. How about that? I would
Oh, that's
snap if my
fair.
mic would pick it up. How about this?
No, I hear it.
There
I
you go.
hear it.
Did you see I did the top right, middle left, bottom right thing?
Not you. You did not just do that to
I
me.
did. You called me sassy last week. That's what you get.
Are you holding that over me now?
That's what you get. I've done my research now.
Wow.
I know.
You are quite an interesting character.
I have solved your puzzle, Riddle Master.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Who is this guy?
Well,
Does
speaking
anybody
of
want to take
things,
over?
speaking of things that you've seen, I don't know how you feel about. Okay. Let me pose a question like this:
Okay.
What do you think about the end of the world?
Like like just the world just ending?
Yes. Does the concept? How do you feel about the concept? Does it frighten you? Does it? Are you like, the sweet embrace of death kind of thing?
I that's a good question. I
It's like a
guess
situation that's out of your control. I'm talking more like sort of a natural disaster, like an
oh, so like
earthquake
the world just
suddenly.
like 2012 type shit. Like the world
Sure. Yes.
explodes.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. I guess I don't think about it too much just because I feel like I won't be alive when it happens anyways. I feel like it's going to be
That's
much
perfectly
further
valid.
into the future
Yeah.
than where we are right now.
That's a perfectly fair and valid response. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, personally, I'm pretty fascinated by it. I agree with you. I think I'm gonna be long dead by the time anything like that happens. Unless,
Hmm.
of course, humanity does something in the next 30, 40 years, then all bets are off. I still don't really have anything that I can do about it. So there's
Yeah.
not really any point worrying about it.
Exactly.
I think it's just one of those things where, you know how people will watch stuff about serial killers.
Ah, true crime, yes. That's
Yes,
a
yes,
that's
true
a
crime.
that's
Yes.
a pandemic that happens low key because people will sit here and watch true crime and get desensitized to it. So then when real world stuff starts happening, they're like, "Oh, okay." Instead
Ooh,
of being like, "Oh, wow, this is a very serious matter."
that's a spicy take right there. I haven't heard that one. That's good.
Oh, see, I have friends who have gone down that rabbit hole, and
Of
they've
getting desensitized to serial killers.
yeah, like one of my closest
Oh,
Chanel, my roommate, Chanel,
oh, really? Okay.
she used to listen and watch true crime all the time until she realized, "Oh, wow, I'm actually very desensitized to this stuff."
Yeah.
Whenever, because like, what's a good example? Whenever that series for Dahmer came out,
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
instead of
yeah.
people being like, "Oh my god, this is a sick human being," there was a lot of people that were like, "He was kinda hot."
Right.
They didn't think about the stuff that he was doing
Well, because he's
as
like that's like the 18th documentary series about a serial killer that's come out in the last year alone.
yeah, that does include all of the true crime podcasts, TV shows, documentaries that come out, and, like, on the one side, it's like, "Oh, this is very educational," but once you start watching it constantly, your brain does not see it as an educational experience, it sees it as entertainment.
Yes, that's a great take. Genuinely agree with a lot of that. As someone who has tried to watch true crime, never really been a fan my whole life. I
Mhm.
literally did like a little mini study to try and figure out why people are so interested in this.
Yeah.
I think it is that weird morbidity, like an interest in horror and just like studying the human psyche that
Yeah.
initially gets them into it, and then I don't know, I didn't discover what it was that kept people watching because I kinda got grossed out and squeamish about it after a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
It's like, what am I get like, why am I enjoying this? I'm not enjoying this. I'm just
I
watching it
think
because other people are watching it.
I think it might come from it might be another sense of, like, escapism, low key.
You think, like, what would I do in the situation of I've been trapped in a basement by a bald person and now I have to fight my way out?
Either that or just the simple fact of, because I know there's also people who watch stuff like that because they wanna try to understand, like, the minds of these people. Not in the sense of, uh, like, why they're doing this in a dang, what's the word I'm trying to say? They're trying to understand from, like, a why perspective instead of, like, a, "Oh, what's wrong with them?" It's more like, "What was their reasoning behind it?" You
Maybe
know?
we can humanize, the guy that ate the other person's face for lunch.
Yeah, or even for some people, it could just come down to what caused them to just go on their rampage like this or go on their serial killer lifestyle
Oh,
type beat.
yeah, like, what was a triggering event for him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, that's fair. I like I said, I couldn't really get into the whole serial killer concept, but
Yeah.
world ending is that's my, like, bread and butter. I love that. I randomly watched a movie, well, not really a movie, it was a documentary. It's a really bad documentary. I've seen a lot of bad documentaries recently. That's we'll get into that later. But
Mhm.
I watched, like, a two-part documentary on if aliens attacked us, would we be ready to defend ourselves?
Absolutely not.
Well, generally, to be fair to them, they didn't. You say no, they said they just didn't answer it.
Oh, that's fair.
This was 2 48 50-minute episodes, and they went, okay, this is what's going to happen. They implemented some pretty crazy scenarios, some of which were cool, some of which didn't make any sense. And then the
Mhm.
end of the whole series was them going, really, what's gonna matter is they're probably gonna win the initial fight, but we're going to have benefit of insurgency. And so
Mm,
just like it's not like a regular war, it's a if we can keep the war going for long enough, assuming they don't want to drain our planet of water or take our food supply or whatever it is, because if they're a
mhm.
spacefaring civilization, theoretically they wouldn't need that. This was some of the arguments that they made. Like they'd be more coming here to set up as a new home. So they would want to remove us rather than removing cows, removing I mean, up there
We're
clearly
the most
abducting cows.
invasive and destructive species.
Yes. You quit clicking while I'm trying to talk about this.
Oh, sorry, I
I
didn't know you
hear
could do
you
that.
clicking in the background.
You don't know what I'm doing. Don't worry
He's
about it.
he's playing Minecraft in the background.
I'm playing Pong.
You're still clicking. I hear you.
You don't hear
You're trying to
nothing.
distract me. I see how this is. Don't you
No.
dare. At any rate, that was one of them that I watched, which led
Mhm.
me into the one that was way better than that. And it's the show called The End is Nigh, but it's spelled Nye, right?
Mhm.
Hosted by by none other than the incomparable Bill Nye of the Science Guy
Oh, that
style
makes
life, right?
sense.
And in this show, it's like a 6 episode kind of mini series that he put on with weirdly Seth MacFarlane, the guy that no, not Seth, yeah, the guy that made Family Guy, Seth MacFarlane,
Yeah.
right?
That's actually
Yeah,
McFarlane.
yes. So Seth MacFarlane was a an executive producer. So was Bill Nye, but they were also both actors in this. Uh, they were basically 6 episodes, and in each episode they went over a different cataclysmic event that could just end the world instantly, more or less instantly.
Mhm.
Something like Yellowstone exploding,
Yeah,
and that would
that's a
cause
scary thing.
something could just randomly happen. An asteroid hitting the Earth, or rather, a series of asteroids hitting the Earth was what their uh, scenario was,
Yeah.
and then some other stuff like a dust bowl, a second dust bowl from like back in the whenever that was the 1900s,
The
early
Great
1900s.
Depression.
Yeah, the Great Depression, like what sparked that off.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so it was just all these different sort of little mini movies that they had put together. Really, really high quality. I was so surprised at the quality. And every
Mhm.
time I was seeing Bill Nye on the screen, I was getting flashbacks to like middle school and high school going, this is actually an educational program. Despite the fact that there are some like weirdly scary elements to it.
Mhm.
I like watched Bill Nye get speared by a tree and thrown through a car. I was like, this is
Oh.
amazing. What on earth? They could not show this to me in middle school. I would have freaked out. But it was awesome because I got to learn about all these cool. I mean, I knew some of them, like Yellowstone exploding would just end the world if an
Mhm.
asteroid hits the Earth, just like with dinosaurs. All these scenarios. There were other stuff like a solar flare knocking out our electrical grid, blowing out
Mhm.
every transformer, and then we couldn't get more transformers because we would need to make transformers, and to make transformers, we need transformers.
Yeah, I love Optimus Prime.
Right? Yes. Either way, I found it very fascinating to learn about these things that I clearly have no control over. There's nothing I can do about it. That just could happen. It's nice to have a little bit of existential dread in the background of your mind.
It's debatable.
But
I mean, I
I don't feel existential dread towards these things. I feel like now I know.
see. I guess that's kind of understandable as somebody who is different. For me,
Okay, yeah, as someone who's gone, well, I won't be around for it, so it doesn't matter to me.
yeah. Well, I mean, I live in a constant state of existential dread.
I mean, that's
Uh,
fair. Why
well, not
add more
actually.
to it, I guess?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think for me, I don't think I'm more so worried about the end of the world. Hell, half the time, I'm not really. I wouldn't say I'm not worried about death or dying because that'd be a lie. I don't. I would prefer not to die soon.
Fair.
Uh, I'm not 27 yet. Um, that's
Shout
a
out to the
callback.
27 Club, yeah.
Yeah, John. Um, but no, I think for me, my existential dread comes more from, I guess, existing as well as what happens
Right.
after death.
Okay, sure.
But I feel like that's something that I could get into that would take a long time to try to explain.
Well,
But
there's a lot of different theories about how a lot of them are based in
beliefs,
religions.
faiths, yeah.
Yeah, of like what happens the instant after you die. Like, do you go to heaven? Some people, and then there's different versions of heaven in itself. Where
Oh
there's,
yeah.
oh man, is it? Which one is it that has like the 27 versions? Versions,
Versions?
virgins.
Is
Is that
that
Muslim?
Islam, I
It may
believe?
be Islam. I'm not super versed on this stuff. I have not studied this in a really long time. But then there are some other ones, like reincarnation is another one. Um, I think it's based
Yeah,
on
reincarnation's
karma.
a big one. The karma and like understanding, I guess, like the human experience per se, or like what it means to be human, or even because I believe with some of the reincarnations, you're meant to learn a lesson, and until you have learned that lesson, you will reincarnate every time until you do.
I
And
thought
some
the
of
end
them that
goal of
I've read,
reincarnation was to become a cow. Is that only
again,
in
there's
okay.
a lot of different branches of it. The one that I'm most familiar with is that one. There are some where it's like, oh, you reincarnate as like an animal, or like a creature, and based on how you lived as a human kind of deal. Um,
Right.
and there's also people that believe nothing. As soon as once you're dead, your existence is just gone.
Yes, that it's sort of like a wink out into nothingness. But I've also heard
You get blipped.
yes. But I've also heard in that same vein, because that's one that I think scares a lot of people.
Hmm.
Um, but I also think that there's like a really big upside to that particular one where you're just done when you're done. And that's
Hmm.
the very last moment of your life is the longest moment of your entire life and
Yeah.
basically stretches on for all infinity because that's the last thing that you'll remember.
Mm. And that's scary for me. I think that's probably what scares the biggest anxiety I have with after death is that there is nothing.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fair. That's fair.
because then I don't know, it kind of just it makes me think, was living pointless in a way, you know?
I
Again,
think that
this is
comes down
very
to
existential.
yeah, I think that comes down a lot more to what you view as the boy. This is gonna be a long topic if we get off onto this. I think
We should probably change soon
that
because
yeah
my
that
anxiety's kicking in.
that more comes down to like how you view the purpose of what humanity is
That's
all
true.
about.
And you see, actually, that's a good segue
Yeah,
to
yep.
instead of after death, we can talk about living. So, uh, I'm gonna try to say things without getting canceled or sacrilegious.
Oh
Uh,
god. Oh, he's stepping off. We can't have both of us be the monster in this. Okay,
no,
I'm
so listen.
officially the good guy. You're the villain. Let's go.
Oh, it's fine. I grew up a very religious person,
How
very
dare? Oh no,
Christian,
sorry.
right?
Yes, please keep going.
Did I? I grew up in a Christian home. Went to church pretty much every day. My mom worked in the church. My family, lived and breathes the Bible type stuff.
Sure.
Uh, but as I am now, I don't really know what my faith is in at the moment.
Oh, sacre bleu.
Stop it. But because of that, I feel like I'm a lot more open to trying to understand other possible, uh, I guess, what's the word? Other possible routes in terms of faith. But there's still a little
Are we
bit that's
talking? Are
there.
we talking faith as in religious faith or faith as
Religious
in?
faith, spirituality, whatever I believe in it,
Sure. Okay. Okay.
everything in that umbrella, honestly.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Uh, but I kind of reached a point to where after like I haven't like deep dived into religion in general or theology or anything like that. But the basis of most religions, which is what I kind of have made my mantra for life. I think that's the word mantra.
Sure.
The way I live, and it's simply just don't be a bad person to other people.
Yes. You're. I mean, you're right that. Wait. Okay. You were saying that that is a basis to a lot of religions. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's how a lot of religions are basically literally you're like, yeah, just don't be a terrible person and just love everybody.
Yeah. Pretty much. I think that's a solid way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you put a net
And
positive into the world
yeah,
goes up. A net positive.
karma type stuff. But that
Yeah. Yeah.
also
Yeah.
this is something that I talked about with one of my friends because of some recent events that happened with me and another friend that I've been having some issues with
Right.
is the way I live my life, and I know it sounds really tacky, but I 100% live my life under the golden rule. Do unto
Do unto
others what you
others.
want them to do to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And like it sounds pretty I don't want to say childish, but it sounds pretty too simple type, or just too like, are you serious? That's how you live your life? But it's really the easiest way to do it, but also the most logical way, low key.
Yeah. I would
It
say you thinking that that's tacky is you being concerned about what they're thinking. I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah, no, I have an issue with other people's perceptions of me. Yes, that's we all know this.
Okay,
That's
fair. All
very
right.
apparent.
Yeah. Yeah. Please continue. Please continue.
But yeah, no, simply just live life trying to put good into the world, and you'll receive it back. Is kind of how I live it, and it hasn't been wrong
Yeah.
per
Yeah.
se. There's some very bad people out in the world, and they get what's coming to them eventually. And I don't
Right.
want to have to get what's coming to me in that sense, which is why I try not to be a bad person. Am I petty? Absolutely. Will I do things out of spite? 100%. But at the end of the day, I will do my best to put my best foot forward and be forgiving.
That's very noble. That's very noble and
Uh,
valiant.
but I'm a very spiteful person at the same time.
Right.
But I don't always act on spite. Most of my spite comes out verbally.
I see.
But it
I
doesn't
see.
come out verbally to those people. It comes out verbally to me having a conversation with myself in my head.
Right. And then you yelling at me and lecturing me about things that I say. I see how it is. I understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You are my outlet for everything, apparently.
It's cathartic. It's what it is. It's
Oh, yeah,
well, I
yeah.
think I was saying last week that basically this podcast is just our free
Or free
our
therapy.
free therapy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We just kind of rant and rave about stuff that's happened to us.
And people can just hear us getting more and more delusional as we speak.
Yep. Yep. I don't know if it's entertaining. I don't know if it's funny, but it helps. I think. I hope.
I mean, we have at least a few people listening every week.
That's true.
So
Shout out to our regulars. Y'all are
we love you.
OGs.
You are the ones who keep us going.
You're the ones who are gonna get a shirt first. Or
It's
a
gonna be on
hat.
the
I don't know
shirt.
what we make. I don't know what merch we make first. We
We
have
should
had
make some merch.
you know the hat.
We have attempted once.
We have?
Yeah, remember when we made our original logo with the little sheet, and then we put a hat on it that said Lamb on John,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
then we
was
were gonna
that like
put
our
that on a
first
hat.
iteration of
That was our
merch?
first attempt. Yeah, that was
Oh,
the beta.
I see.
But then we changed our logo to just straight up Lamb on John, and that was it.
I thought the lamb with the hat was still
Is that our? Is
I
that
you
still
know I
our
don't
logo?
know. I thought it was.
Give me a second. I'm gonna do some research.
Maybe I'm wrong about that. Weirdly, this topic of like religion and trying to do your best to oh wait, hold on just a sec.
Okay, look at this dude. He's on air and he's on his phone, probably. Okay, yeah. So the logo is still a sheep with a hat that says Lamb on John. Oh, he's gone. Well, since he's gone, I can talk to you about some cool things. Um,
No,
I don't
don't
have
talk
anything
about
cool to
cool
talk.
things. We're just gonna cut this whole section and
No, we're
we'll
not,
wind
and
it
you
back
know
a little
that.
bit.
We've never cut anything.
Well, we could start. We could be a little proactive.
How are we gonna change halfway into the year?
I guess that's true. Well, okay. What I was saying, I don't know if I'm interrupting anything you were talking about, but
No, it's cool. I don't care.
right. Okay. Clearly, as the guy that's as yeah. Oh, okay, never mind. So I don't want to just talk about things that I've watched recently, but I have been watching a lot of
That's all you do.
weird shows. Right.
Uh-huh.
Well, I try and take some lessons out of the shows. I don't want to just talk about how, oh yes, the Indus 9 had some really great CGI and all this blah blah blah. Who really cares? I got more out
Mhm.
of the existential side of wow, look at the end of the world happening. But these others,
I
so
see.
there were two that I watched sort of back to back.
Mhm.
Um, both of them were produced by. Do you know who Rainn Wilson is
Yeah,
from The
that's Dwight.
Office? Yes, Dwight from The Office. And the other guy, he made a show. I should try and keep my thoughts in order here. He made a show called The Geography of Bliss. Okay. Uh,
Mhm.
there was another guy that I watched, another show that I watched, hosted by an actor who I'm a big fan of, Orlando Bloom, who
Oh, I
has
know him.
he's been in a lot of stuff, especially stuff that I really enjoy, like Lord of the Rings. He's been in Lord of the Rings. He was Legolas. He's in Pirates of the Caribbean. Those are, I think, his two really big, like sort of blockbuster ones. But then he's also been in a lot of other really great everything across the years.
Mhm.
And he made a show called To the Edge, which is I think it's a 3-episode mini series about how he was going to learn 3 extreme skills. One of them was, I think, skydiving. Oh, sorry, wingsuiting was one of
Mhm.
them. Deep free diving was another one, and then rock climbing, like free climbing. Sorry, was his third skill.
Free climbing, that's just where you go rock climbing without, like, a harness, right?
You have a harness, but you don't have any sort of safety net. It's you and this
Oh.
other person basically climbing up a wall together, and there's
Mhm.
no handholds or anything. It's literally just you're finding your way up a rock that's pretty much vertical.
Okay.
But interestingly, I found out in this that he practices Buddhism, and he's also married to Katy Perry, I think. Oh no,
In the
wait.
movie or IRL?
For real, I think. Wait,
Oh.
Orlando Bloom married to. Yes. So he is either engaged or oh, he might be engaged to Katy Perry, which kind
Mhm.
of freaked me out when I saw that I was like, who is he? He calls his wife, or I guess I don't know if they're. Yeah, I thought they were married in it. I don't know, but he calls Katy
Fiance?
Perry. It could be, yeah. Google says they're engaged, but he like calls his Katy Perry multiple times during the show. The first time it happened, I went, "This person looks really familiar to me." And then she shows up in the next episode on site, and everyone's like, "Oh, hello, Katy Perry." Blah 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 blah. Like, what on earth? Who? What is she doing here? Okay, I got kind of off topic.
Uh-huh.
The purpose. I was sort of comparing these two shows in my mind because they're very similar, at least in terms of how they're presented. Um,
Mhm.
To the Edge is very much about uh like adrenaline and getting to that, pushing the human brain to its limit. Another brain. I mean, like the whole human experience to the absolute pinnacle of what it means to be a human.
Mhm.
On the other side of this, because I felt they were similar shows that went the completely opposite direction. Where To the Edge, obviously I was saying adrenaline pushing to the edge, right? Name of the show.
Mhm.
And then it was also sort of like weirdly spiritual because he has a lot of moments where he has to center himself around his um um oh gosh, I forget the name of it, but he had this chant that was supposed to like bring his focus to like center and all this stuff, and it clearly seemed to work for him because he was pretty badass in the show.
Yeah.
However, on the other side of this, in the Geography of Bliss, which was Rainn Wilson's show, this
Mhm,
was a
mhm,
show about him trying to find happiness, the the concept of happiness. 'Cause he was like, okay, I've done all this stuff, I'm successful, right? He was Dwight from The Office. It's like one of the most successful sitcoms of all time. And he's like, yeah,
mhm,
I did this, and I've done a lot of other things, and yet I'm not happy.
mhm,
And so he went out, right? He's like, I'm going out into the world and I'm going to find the happiest places. Like the first episode of this show is him going to Iceland. I think it was Iceland, which is the happiest place. Um, they took like a poll, right? A couple of years in a row, they've taken polls over what place in the world is the happiest place. And I think Iceland has ranked in the top for most of that. And he went over there and was like, okay, why is this place ranked so highly? And
mhm,
explored around and did all this stuff. And I won't go into the details of what he discovered there. Um, but he more or less found out a lot of interesting things about why they're happy, why they aren't so happy. They have to spend a lot of times, it's a cold climate versus a warm climate. There's all this, like banding together with family and all this stuff. And then he went to some other places that are like warmer, that are, less economically sound. Some of them were like ravaged by war. Some of them have been historically under like a rule for a very long time.
mhm, mhm.
And so I don't know. It was just these two sort of parallel shows. They were both trying to find out like what was the human experience about. And To the Edge
Yeah.
was very visceral. It was very pushing the body to its limits and keeping the mind sharp and all this stuff. And like every morning, Orlando Bloom wakes up and he does this like workout to the death. Then he goes about his day, and most of the day that we were watching was him going to basically his death, jumping out of an airplane 25 times in a week to get
Mhm,
certification so that he could be able to wingsuit, or practicing diving down and having to very slowly increase his tolerance to CO2 over months
mhm,
so that he could actually dive down because people go crazy down there and potentially pass out on the way back up. It's just this
mhm.
crazy, absolutely insane. And then on the other side, I don't want to disrespect.
You're already
I don't want to
oh
disrespect
boy.
Rainn Wilson because I love him as an actor and I love him as a person. But it was like we went from this basically Superman trying to push his body to the limit to Rainn Wilson, who is a middle-aged, kind of out of shape dude who's like, yeah, I'm kind of a pessimist, kind of a jerk all the time. Like this character, I played this character in a show, and he became a lot more me or maybe I became him. It's like all this like I'm kind of a jerk and I'm
Mhm.
not happy. And I have all this cool stuff and I'm still not happy. So I'm gonna go and find happiness out there. It's a noble goal. It's a noble goal. But the way they presented these two concepts were so opposite of each other. It was literally like this show is a pessimistic show. This show is an optimistic show. It's like what in the world? Like I haven't finished the Geography of Bliss yet, so I don't know if he's actually found happiness.
Mhm.
But I don't know. It's just like watching these two back to back was it was a very strange experience because I couldn't help because I watched To the Edge first, and I couldn't help but compare these two shows to one another. Going, I had a lot more time with the optimism. It was much more fun to watch someone have a good time than someone
Mhm.
not have a good time and trying to find out why. Does that make sense?
No, yeah. I mean, it's showing two very opposite outlooks on life and approaches to get to the same goal.
Yes.
Uh, w- Respectfully, the way that I'm seeing it is trying to. I like to compare things and like analogies so that it helps me understand better. The way that I kind of see it is kind of the outlook on life between you and one of your former roommates. Uh, look,
Wow.
respectfully,
Okay. Okay.
Um, because I feel like you would be the more I wouldn't call it adrenaline junkie because you're not that insane, but I mean the things that you do things because you think they're gonna be fun, interesting, and experience. I mean, you were ghost hunting. You still
Right.
ghost hunt to my knowledge. You do stuff like that because you're like, this is an interesting concept and you know I like to do things for information. What if I find something that doesn't make sense? How do we explain that? Like you're out here trying to understand the mysteries of life. You're doing things, you're doing daring things. You're not pushing yourself to the limit per se, but you're not limiting yourself to what you think you're capable of.
Right. I can confirm that I felt closer to Rainn Wilson than I did to Orlando Bloom, but I wanted to be Orlando Bloom more than I wanted to be Rainn
Mm.
Wilson. Does that make is that
Okay, no, that's maybe it's because you're not pushing yourself to the extreme.
I couldn't imagine how he was doing what he was doing physically. Like
Listen,
if okay, I don't okay, as someone who has not historically worked out for a very long period of time, okay, like
uh-huh.
I didn't do it through high school, I didn't do it through middle school, I didn't do it really through college. I dabbled in college, and now I've kind of gotten more into that lifestyle. I don't understand how people do it. How on earth is someone waking up every single day, going to the gym, putting in 100, literally not 100%, literally 110% of what their body can do, or at least 101%, right? Because I think the concept to get stronger is to work until failure.
Hmm.
How do you go until your body gives out and
And still
then
keep
go
going.
home, get a protein shake and then work 8 hours in a day or, do whatever? Like there's no way these people are doing this. I don't
Yeah,
understand how.
it's all mental.
Okay, if it's mental, I am screwed, man. I
Yeah,
don't know what
you're
to tell you.
weak. You're pathetic.
I
No,
I I get on the
literally.
treadmill for like 2 minutes and I'm like, "I'm done. I wanna be done with this." I have another 30, 40 minutes ahead of me and I just have to distract myself because there's no way I can mentally focus myself to for 40 minutes to go, "Alright, I'm pushing myself to my absolute limit." Like, there's just
Mhm.
no I don't know. I don't know how people do that. And every time I've looked or every time I should say, every time my algorithm has tried to recommend me the people that are like, "Just do it. Just push through." Like, what does that mean? What are you doing? Are you smothering your inner child or something? Like burying him under a pillow? How on earth are you
No.
people pushing through like just the boredom of okay, I'm going to be in pain, I'm going to be uncomfortable, I'm going to be like sweaty, I'm going to be breathing heavy. I don't know, it's just all this stuff. Maybe people enjoy that, and I just don't enjoy.
That could very much be the reason. I mean, for me, I really do enjoy working out a lot. I just don't do it because I'm lazy. And at the end of the day, it is, again, a mental thing and a commitment. If you're actually trying to do something with it. For me, I told myself I need to lose weight, I need to work out all the time, but then I just don't go do it because 'cause I'm lazy, but I genuinely do enjoy working out.
What do you enjoy about working out? Is it yeah. What is it
I
that
guess
you
for
like about
me,
it?
I like learning how like, my limits or, like, if I've grown stronger or if I've pushed past a previous, like, limit that I had, pushing myself to go further, than I did the last
This is
time,
because you watched Dragon
or
Ball Z as a child, wasn't it?
this is literally just because Isaiah has an issue with limiting himself in general, and this is the one way that he knows that he can be like, "Oh, wow, I was able to lift 5 pounds more than the last time I did this, like, a year ago, which means I've definitely improved." Or it's like, "Oh, I wonder how much I can squat right now." Like, remember when we used to work out, over with my old apartment complex, and, like, we figured out that I had better leg strength, but you had better arm strength.
I think it was the other way around.
You had better leg strength, and I had better arm strength.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, "Wow, that's crazy. I didn't even think that I was stronger than you at all."
I
And so that
think
had me
well, we determined that was because of long standing. Well, because neither of us had really worked out, so all of our
Yeah,
muscle came from what we generally did, right? And you did a
yeah,
lot more lifting with your upper body, like during because from previous jobs
yeah.
and previous jobs that I have didn't require lifting with the arms. It was more
Nice.
I
I
yeah, I guess it
guess.
was just less arms in general. Because I
Yeah.
did a lot more sort of, I guess, not really desk jobs. I mean, I was a lifeguard at one point, but
Mhm.
that's a lot more legs than arms anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I just it's kind of it built a little drive in me that to know that I had better arm strength than you in general. Because like, well, because in my brain, I'm not strong. I'm not, this is something that I've been learning recently and realizing when people tell me, "Isaiah, you are literally built to play football." I say, "No, I'm not." Because in my brain, I'm just this nerdy guy who doesn't play sports, who doesn't work out, who doesn't do anything like that. How could I have the body of a football player? And then recently, like, I'll just be looking at myself in the mirror, like, especially when I wear a black shirt or like a tight shirt, and I'm like, "Wow, I'm actually kind of beefy."
Yeah. First of all, I wouldn't compare yourself to me and be like, I'm strong, because I'm not that strong.
Who else am I gonna compare myself to? I have nobody else.
Well, okay, I mean that's fair. That's fair. Also, these references are to something that happened like 3 years ago.
2, 3 years ago, yeah, yeah, but still, that's one thing that I do think about because 'cause I'm like, "Wow, that's interesting."
But
And I'm not gonna say
you
that that pushed me
find
to keep going or
yeah,
anything,
you
but
find, motivation in the concept of improvement. That's what's sort of your driving force in the gym?
improvement and just learning where I am at the
I
moment,
like
yeah.
benchmarking where you're at
Yeah,
that moment.
because like, because unlike most or a lot of people who go work out, I'm not really in it to lose weight. Because I think I'm pretty comfortable with the way that I am,
Mhm.
like, physically. Could I stand to lose a couple pounds? Absolutely. I think most people are. But,
I think it's a double-edged sword, honestly. It's like
yeah,
losing
see
weight is, there's benefits there wh while I would say that there are a lot more benefits to being on the thin side, when you're heavier, you're like immortal.
who you telling?
You don't have to worry about infections and stuff because you're
My immune
fat.
system has been fighting
Well, okay,
real
that
hard.
I mean, that's fair. You also have, like, allergies in general. But,
Yeah.
like, for example, between me and some people that I know that are like, they get chronically sick. Not chronically sick, but they get a lot like,
Sick a lot
they
more often.
randomly get sick. I was like, "What on
Mhm,
earth?" Like, there's nothing going on. And then I'm over here like, "Yeah, I was sort of feeling down for 6 hours." Like, I had a little
mhm.
scratch in my throat, and then my body sorted it out. Is it because I have a, like, god immune system? Probably not. It's probably because I'm, I have, like, 10% more body fat than they do. And so I'm
Maybe,
able
I don't
to
know. Is that
fight it off.
scientifically proven?
As far as I know, body fat helps with immune response.
Oh, maybe that's why I'm never sick.
That's what I'm saying. I think a lot of heavier people, that's one of the major benefits to, at least for me personally, for having a higher body fat percentage. It's like I'm
Mhm.
kind of concerned that when I get down to more it's really average body
And you're
weight
getting there.
percentage. I am very close. I have gotten within a percentage of I think average. I don't know what the actual one is.
Mhm. I think you weigh less than me now, probably, right? No, you're 6 foot.
Yeah, I think I have
You have a lot
very
more
thick bones. Yeah.
thick bones, strong calves, very strong calves.
Yes, that's for sure. That's for sure. I could climb a mountain. Yeah.
Hiking is fun, just not when it's hot.
Well, we live in the wrong state for that.
That's fair. But, whoa, I like to work out because I wanna gain muscle, not because I wanna lose fat. But,
Yeah.
a lot of times getting muscle will in turn burn fat, obviously.
That's true. It's weird because I remember back when I started this, I had to there's a lot of steps that kind of have to go into a long-term weight loss experience like I am
Yeah.
still currently going through. I think this is the beginning
2?
of year 3.
3?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Officially, this is the beginning of year 3.
Mhm.
But there was a lot of stuff at the beginning that, oh gosh, I can't go off on a rant about this. One of the things that I first started was trying to figure out where my BMR, my basic metabolic rate was,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and due to I think a lot of impacts, a lot of different what do you call them?
Mhm.
Different reasons, whatever. Mine was super low, like
Variables.
crazy, crazy low. Yeah, variables. Yeah, and so but I've noticed that over the years, it has 100% increased, almost doubled in the past 2 years to
Your
where,
metabolism?
yeah, my basic metabolic rate.
Mhm.
I now, to be fair, I'm not entirely sure if it was as low as it was because obviously I'm not super qualified to be doing this. But from my YouTube research and looking online, I
Uh-huh.
determined what it was and went, wow, in order to be in a deficit, I have to be like stupid low. Like I think I had to be eating
Mhm.
something like 800 calories in order to be in a deficit to lose weight, which I don't know if you can conceptualize 800 calories, but it is
It's
not
not a
a
lot.
lot of
It
food.
is not a lot.
It's like nothing. And so,
I mean, most American foods, you get that much by eating, like, a whole bag of chips, if not even
yes,
more.
yeah. It's like a burger. I could have a burger and nothing else, like that whole day. And even then a burger's closer to 1,000 than it is to 800. And
Mhm.
so it was a mixture of that. That's where that first month, I don't know how I made it through that first month because I can't do it again. It was me really lowering a lot of intake, increasing like going to the gym. I don't know how many times a week I was going to the gym. I was trying to drag you out there every time with me. And
Yeah.
so it's like every
You're doing,
time I
like,
was
almost every other day at
it was at
least.
least every other day. I think the goal was like 5 days a week, but I found out that that was really unsustainable for me. And so I
Mhm.
lowered I tried to make it a little more understandable. But over the years, I have now I don't know, like, because I don't really go to the gym that much. I sort of do like home workouts or like get on the treadmill and run for a little while. Excuse me.
Mhm.
And so it's like I haven't had that benchmark of I don't know if I've increased strength in any capacity because a lot of the stuff that I
Mhm.
do is sort of body weight oriented. And so it gets, like the less body weight that I have, the easier it gets. And
Yeah.
so I have to do like more and more in order for it to actually uh, equal the same amount because I'm not lifting as much. I'm doing less and less work as it's going on, which is lovely. Things become easier the longer I do it. I'm down for that. On the other
Mhm,
side,
mhm.
going to the gym, like what you're saying, to build muscle, there is no end to it. It's a goal and a project that will never actually be done because every time you go there, your goal is to work harder. Your goal is to push that limit just a little bit more and just a little bit more. So every day you
Yeah.
have to go in with the mentality of I'm going to work 101% to die and be good the rest of the day because I just have to be.
I don't know, it's weird.
Are these people just like slamming caffeine and energy drinks all the time? I know somebody that does
Possibly.
sports, they drink a ton of energy drinks.
Yeah, they gotta stay alive.
Yeah. Like, do I need to do that? Do I have to sacrifice my kidneys in order to do this?
Let me tell you. even though I absolutely detest the feeling of being sore, I also love the feeling of being sore because that
Yes, yeah,
means
I agree.
that
I feel the same.
the work I did had an effect.
True, yeah.
And something I've learned is if you're trying to, bulk up and build, like, get beefy and get muscle, yeah, you gotta go 110%, if not even like 150. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But if you're just trying to go to sustain healthiness, you don't have to do that. You could literally do like 50% and you're still getting a good workout in, and your body is active, your heart is pumping, you're building muscle. It would be more so like you're toning your muscles as opposed to bulking up.
True. I mean, yeah, yeah, that's a very good point. I think a lot of the
And if
people that, they all obviously a lot of people have the goals that they see online, right? Like on
Yeah.
Instagram or wherever people get their images these days. With with every other social media site going down,
Yeah.
they've they see these like images, right? And that's like what you kind of are striving towards. And I think in order to get there, as someone who's not there, I don't know how much exactly it takes because I'm not there yet. I think I still have maybe another year until I'm officially quote unquote done, which,
Mhm.
I don't think I'll ever actually be done. I think I'm stuck in this for the rest of my life. And that's,
Constantly gotta grow.
yeah, that's just kind of how it goes at this point. And like maybe at some point, I'll have that midlife crisis moment where I'm like, all right, time to get jacked. And we just go full in on it rather than trying
Yeah.
to, like what you're saying, is maintain and get down to healthy.
Mhm.
But yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
a pain. I don't, people that go to the gym all the time, I have mad respect for you, but I do not
Absolutely.
understand you. I do not get your brain function.
And if any of you who go to the gym all the time, like, on a regular, have commitment issues, you're a liar. And
Well,
you might
they're
be asking
dating the
yourself,
gym is what
"Isaiah,
they're doing. What they don't have is time to commit to other people because that's a
you
whole
can commit to
process in
someone
itself.
and you can commit to somebody and still commit to the gym. You're just weak. You're pathetic."
Look, there's only so much time in the day, all right? If I have to spend an hour going to the gym, really it's more than an hour because if I have to drive to the gym, that's why I kind of want to make a home gym. I just don't have the room for it.
Do it.
I don't have the room for it or the money or the time to
Make
actually put it together. Okay, I'll
room.
start
You're
building.
making
I will start. You
excuses.
want me to just do it?
Just do it. See,
Don't let my
that's your
dreams be
problem.
dreams?
This is literally what we've been talking about the last 30 minutes.
What? A lot of talk and not a lot of follow
Yeah,
through?
yeah. I don't see any action. I just hear a lot of excuses.
You hear a lot of complaining because that's one of the things. Me and Rainn Wilson have that in common. We just like to bitch and moan about stuff.
Oh, I'm well aware about that. As a serial complainer myself.
Uh-huh. Yep, yep. Let's see, we're trying to put out net positive into the world. All right. You can't complain as much. Complaining is a net negative. It brings everybody down. It makes everybody see. That's why most people have tapped out at this point in the podcast. They're not listening to us. Hey, if
Mhm.
you are still listening, shout out to you. You made it through the John complains for half an hour about his life segment of the
Yeah.
podcast.
It doesn't happen very often, but when it
Yeah,
does, he
only
goes
I mean
off.
regularly once a week at most.
This is his therapy, don't forget it. But thank you for tuning in, for sure, to his complaining about life. You, in fact, do not have commitment issues if you made it this far.
Yeah, yeah. I would actually say that you're. I heard somebody. I think it's Channel 5. They a YouTube channel online that one of the things that they would do at the end of their because they started making oh god documentaries about various things, and one of the things they would put at the
Mhm.
end of it is like a little sit down speech between the guy that was making it and the audience. He's like, if you made it this far, congratulations. You're like in the top 1% of attention people. People that have
Mhm.
attention, you're like the best. You're like the best of the best. It's like
So not
that's
us.
crazy. I mean, we made it
You
okay,
have been promoted.
we have jumped to a myriad of topics and I still have more, at least two more things that I could talk about.
Yeah, you talk way too much, dude.
I do. Do you have
You know
anything
what?
you would like to
Do
talk
you
about,
have
Isaiah? You
if
have
you have more
6 minutes.
things if you have more things you wanna talk about after we're done with this, we can start another episode and just do it then,
Well, I don't think I have 2
pre-record.
episodes worth. Plus, also this last one, I feel like we should get in real quick because it is topical. Actually,
Mhm.
there's 2 of them, but the big one that's going on right now is, this is a video gaming news. Woo, woo, woo!
Wee,
Video
wee,
gaming news. Oh,
wee.
I think I just peaked my mic super bad. Anyway,
Oof.
so I don't know if you've heard about you've been playing Helldivers, I'm assuming. I've seen that
As I
you
have,
do own that
yes.
game. Um, they
I fight for
just
democracy.
well, yes, they just recently had this big controversy within the past couple of days that Sony, the people that published the game, not the developers are Arrowhead. Sony has implemented this. You have to sign into your PlayStation Network account.
Are you kidding?
Yes. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. This is a serious thing that they've done.
That literally defeats the whole purpose of Steam.
Yes, it has not only I mean, it's alienated a lot of the people that don't have, first of all, PlayStation accounts. It's like we have to sign up for a whole nother service now. A lot of people that own the game, actually a surprising amount, because when I heard people complaining that some people in nations that don't have access to PlayStation, to the
Mm,
PlayStation Network, but they do have access to Steam, they're not going to be able to play the game at all. And I went, well,
that's
that
so
can't be like a
dumb.
large amount. Why are we making this our major argument? And it's actually
Mhm.
a lot more people that don't have
No,
it.
it's
I
very
didn't
worldwide,
know
dude.
how low the PlayStation Network actually counted.
Mhm.
There's apparently so many places
See,
that they don't service.
I thought, like, PlayStation was a lot more international than, like, any other game system,
That was my
but
impression. I was like, if
I
Microsoft had done
guess
this, I'd be like,
not.
well, clearly they're just like an American company. I mean, Sony
Yeah,
is, I think they're Japanese, right?
I believe so,
It
yeah.
doesn't
If
make
not
sense for them
Japanese,
not
they
to
they got a
be.
big Japanese, like, following, I guess would be the word.
Yeah, I think there is like an
Uh,
American Sony division, but either way, you'd think with uh, literally gaming being as global as it can be, why would they have
mhm,
removed sections of it? I couldn't tell you the exact number of people, but the numbers that I've seen of people talking about this have been surprisingly large. Like, okay, this is
mhm.
not a bad point to bring up. And so I think close to 100,000 people have review bombed. I mean, I call it review bombing. They have
Yeah,
voiced their opinion in the only way that they can
on the
by
socials.
dumping on the Steam store.
Yeah. Wait, so did they, like, already implement this, or is this something that they're talking
I
about
think
doing?
it's something it's something that they have talked about implementing, are implementing actively, and don't seem to be backing down from. I believe the cutoff date is like the 8th or the 10th or something like that. So about 5
Mhm,
or 10 days from now is when I'm not sure if they're going to
mhm.
put like a login screen and force you to log in to actually play the game through like PlayStation
That
Network.
is unfortunate.
But if it is, I have quit things for far less. I am
Yeah.
100% a bandwagon kind of person that will just go, "Oh, we're canceling them? Let's do it. Let's go.
Oh my
No more
god.
Helldivers for anybody."
That sucks. I really enjoy Helldivers
Yeah,
too.
it was such a fantastic game. I mean, the worst part, at least for me, is that the developers seem mostly it was out of their hands. They had no control over
Yeah.
this, and they've sided with the players against their own publisher.
That's usually how it goes with big companies like this.
Yeah, it's. I think the guy that made the game put out a tweet that was something along the lines of, "Yeah, this really sucks. This whole situation sucks. We actually can't do anything about it. What you guys are doing, like putting negative reviews on the store, that really hurts my feelings. But it's the right move to make." Because that's
Yeah.
one of the only like pieces of sway that they have, or influential, whatever. That's the only way that they
Oh,
could
snap.
sway. Are you looking at the score? You're saying that it's gone from like
No, I'm
overwhelmingly
on
positive to negative. It's unbelievable.
no, what's it called? I'm on Reddit right now.
Oh,
Some Reddit thread called, or a subreddit called Two Best Friends Play, and it's just, like, up like, they had posted an update yesterday on on the whole thing,
right.
and, like, uh like, Sony's doubling down, like,
Yeah,
hella
yes,
hard.
they are.
Like, people outside of, like, the PSN area or PSN areas are getting banned for using VPNs.
Really, dude. Yeah, that does not surprise me. I don't know what it is. Sony's taking two big L's because the other one that we're talking about is this
Mhm.
game. I don't know if you've seen this game before, but it's called Stellar Blade.
Stellar Blade, that sounds
Yeah,
familiar.
it's this I don't really know too much about it. All I know is that the main character is really really hot and everybody was really pissed about that
Oh,
for some reason.
because she's hot?
Yes. Well, unrealistic body standards and all this stuff.
But she looks like it's like a Japanese-made game,
Yes, yes, it is.
and that's kind of
All I can tell you
a
is
normal
the
okay.
the people that the loudest people were the ones that I heard because I have no interest in this
Mhm,
game. I don't have a PlayStation, and so I wasn't really interested in like what they were talking about. All I saw was people were in uproar about this, and then they started finding random graffiti in the game that was kind of
mhm,
questionable. Uh, Let me see if I can actually find what it was. There's unintentional graffiti. Oh yeah, yeah. There was a place called the R Shop, right? Just like a random thing.
uh-huh,
But then there was uh, what they're claiming was a random graffiti instance. They're in a city. They haven't made everything custom. They've sort of spray painted one graffiti across the city and then they've gone with another graffiti across the city. And one
mhm.
of them that they had put in there was this just the word hard, right?
Oh,
And so in one
huh,
instance, there was a part where the R shop, which I'm guessing is where you buy items and stuff, was like there was a little sign for it on the wall, and then there is let me just send you this photo. And
oh
then the
god.
graffiti was spray painted just to the left of it. So what it actually looks like is it's called the Hard R Shop.
Oh,
And people saw that and they went,
oh,
"No way.
oh,
No way did they get away with this." And the
okay,
dir and the guy that made the game went, "Oh, according to everybody, it's a genuine mistake. This graffiti shows up
mm,
all over the city, and the shop is called the R Shop. I don't know why it's called the R Shop. Maybe the guy that owns its name is R, right? So it was literally just a really unfortunate coincidence that this graffiti for the word hard and this random sign for the art shop happened to be at the exact same moment, and nobody caught it until the game was fully released and out there. And
hmm,
people went up in arms about it, and they had and Sony. I think they censored it. To my knowledge, they released a patch and they removed it from the game.
huh, that's quite interessante.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel about that particular.
Ooh, I
Because a
see.
lot of people were like, "This is censorship. Like, clearly this was unintentional." And then other people were
Mm,
like, "Clearly this was intentional. We need to cancel the whole game." And Sony kind of split the difference and went, "All right, we'll censor it and just leave it up there." And everyone was pissed off about that. So Sony
yeah.
has just been in the hot seat for a little while now.
Another so, I was looking up just trying to figure out what's going on, why there's so much controversy as well, and so the problem with the main character being a very attractive woman is that she's a very attractive woman for some people. Uh,
Right.
one like, like, 2 sides of it. There's the side that's like, "Wow, we're making a very sexualized character.
Right.
I can't believe this in 2024." Then the other side of it is saying, "Finally, an overly sexualized character. I'm tired of playing ugly women."
Yes, I believe those were the arguments that I was seeing. Yeah.
And then, with censorship, they also censored a lot of her costumes as well to be censored, such as, like, putting, like, an undershirt on some of her clothes to cover up her cleavage or making, like, some of her skirts or dresses longer, and people are upset about
There you
that.
go. Yep. Yeah. So they've been in the hot seat about censorship. And
Yeah.
now they're also forcing the PlayStation Network on an entirely separate operating system,
Mhm.
basically.
That's not very democratic if you ask
Yeah.
me. Democratic or it's very anti-Super Earth.
Yep. And that's why the vast majority of Helldivers spec'd immediately into the review bomb stratagem and are this is a really nerdy sentence. All right, stick with me.
Oh boy.
Yeah, a lot of us Helldivers have spec'd into the review bomb stratagem. We're dropping them all over. Little did we know there was a fourth faction in the game, Sony, and we will
Hmm.
take them out for democracy's sake. Either way, we have reached our hour
Mhm.
limit. We should probably
Alright.
we won't get to my updates. For everybody
Not
that's
today.
interested, I did finish both legions in Calvaron that I was working on 2 weeks ago. It took me actually 3 weeks ago because it took me 2 weeks. I finished them last week.
How much do we even talk about
Meant
that?
to bring it up. I'm just
And
giving an update because
I
I
don't even know if we've talked about that on air.
yeah, we did.
Outside of
Well,
maybe
because
maybe
remember when
one
we were
time
talking
briefly?
no, like 2 weeks ago, we were talking about my creative process and how I was saying I'd be
Oh, that's
stuck in
right.
this for, like, the rest of my life,
Mhm.
and
No, that's right.
I was
Your
looking at
pipeline
this
for art.
yeah, I was looking at the speed at which I was able to create things. I have actually created them ahead of schedule. I think I would still be working on them now if I was doing it the slower way.
I see.
So, yeah, I'm just
Well, before
it's
we
just
go,
good.
I guess I can talk about my D&D thing real quick. To you, John. I was going home or on my way home with Jacob, and we were talking about like DMing and D&D and stuff. And something about that I don't remember reminded me of the whole campaign that I started working on,
Right?
the volcano
Oh,
one,
yeah, I remember that one.
and I completely forgot all about that. And I don't think I've touched it for like 2 years.
Well, the great thing
But
about the online cloud is that it's right there waiting for you.
oh, absolutely. And I was reading through it, and I was like, wow, because we were talking about like our what's the word, our play style, or I guess DMing style,
Right.
and like how we feel like neither of us could really sit here and like do like a Matt Mercer thing and like write a book
Right.
on the
It's a pain
campaign,
in
kind
the
of like what
ass, that's
you're
for
working
sure.
on.
It's a pain.
And we're like, and I was like, yeah, I feel like I can't do that because it'll be such a different experience for everybody. And then lo and behold, I'm looking at this campaign that I was writing, and I literally wrote it as if it was a book, like not an intro, but like a book for new DMs.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
yeah.
and talking about like what to talk about in session 0, the play style, like all the main events that are going to be happening, how how you're supposed to quote unquote how you're supposed to run the players through the game and stuff like that. And I was like, that's kind of funny that that completely contradicts what I just said.
Hey, everybody has a different style, and if you're able to impart that style or what makes if you're able to explain to somebody your uh, game master style, they can adapt that to their own style or just steal yours if they really like the way that you run it. A lot of people like the way Matt Mercer runs his games, so a
Yeah,
lot of people just take what he does and run with it. If it works, it works.
thieves. Oh, sorry.
It's not thieves, it's iterations.
Sure, let's go with that.
Everything that has been invented has already been done. All we have to do now is
Except for
remix it.
by me.
Huh?
Remix.
Oh my god, we got to get out of here. He's
Okay.
starting to rap. He's about to drop into it.
uh,
No,
in
no, no,
West
no, no,
Philadelphia,
no, no,
born
no,
and
no, 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 no. We can't afford that. We can't afford that. Thanks for listening,
well,
everybody.
this is a
Thanks for
story
let's
all
say
about how
goodbye.
my life got
Say
flipped.
goodbye, Isaiah. Say goodbye, or I'll click it without you saying goodbye.